Hi guys, I'm Devanshu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this particular video, we'll be looking at how can we write polyfill for filter method of an array that we have in JavaScript. So to be honest guys, when it comes to writing polyfills, then writing polyfills for methods like filter, map, these are some of the easiest polyfills that someone can ask us to write in JavaScript, right? So before we begin with the polyfill for filter, uh, let me quickly tell you what filter method does. I know as you landed on this particular video, then you must already be aware of what filter map does, but still, I'll just quickly give you a gist of it. So I have my code sandbox open. I'll remove this boilerplate code and start with our code. Right. So the filter method is an iterative method. It calls the provided callback function once for each element in an array and constructs a new array of all the values which callback function returns a truthy value, right? Array elements which pass the callback function, uh, they are being written, and which fail the callback function are not included in the new array. And it returns a shallow copy of the given array containing just the elements that pass the test, right? And if no elements pass the test, an empty array is written, as simple as that. So this is filter function. Now let's quickly see it in action. So suppose I have what I'm doing. Suppose I have an array of numbers 1 to 5. Now, suppose I need the numbers which are less than 4, right? So we know that in this particular array, 1, 2, and 3 are less than 4. How we'll get that? We'll simply apply filter over this array. So let's take a variable called result array.filter x such that x is less than 4, right? Now I quickly see this. So this is the callback function that I passed in the filter, and I'm using the arrow function syntax. Now quickly see, are we getting this particular output into the console? Yeah. See. So what do we get? We get 1, 2, and 3. Right. So this is the filter method. This is very simple, right? Now quickly start with the polyfill for it. So before writing the polyfill, what are polyfills? So polyfills are something that we write in the prototype of this particular object, of any particular object that we are, planning to write the polyfill for. So we want a polyfill for filter, which is a method on array. So what we'll do, we'll do array. At first, we'll check, right, whether this particular method exists over an array or not, right? So array.prototype. So suppose if I write filter already exists. So if I want to use the same keyword called filter, then firstly I'll have to set array.prototype.filter is equal to null. Then I'll be able to use the same keyword. But now we do know that filter already exists. So we'll take a different keyword called my filter. Right. Now it will test and yeah, it will test, and if this does not exist, then only we want to create a polyfill. Then only we want to create a method for it on this, which can be applied on any particular array. Prototype. Now we are good. Okay, so dot prototype dot my filter. Right. So what this my filter method will take as an argument, right? So we are passing a callback function, right? So in a function, what we'll get? We'll get a callback function. So we'll call it callback, and another argument which will point to all the, uh, which will point to all the values that we are passing in this particular callback function. So basically, this will point to the this keyword. So this arg we would say, right? Now, at first, we'll have to look for the errors, right? What errors might occur if the input is invalid? How will we handle them, right? So we'll have to handle all these things. So what all errors can be there? One thing is that this particular callback, we need to check that this callback should be a function, right? We can't just pass any random values as an arguments to the my filter method. So one is that if this particular callback is not a function, then it will throw an error. Another thing is the array that we want to apply my filter method to, that should not be null, right? These two uh, are the checks that we'll do. So this is the error handling part. So suppose if this uh, is equal to null, what do we want to do? We want to throw an error. Throw type error, new type error basically. We'll have to create an object of that as well. What we'll say? Array dot prototype dot my filter called on null values. Right? Null, or we can say null or undefined values. Right. Now, what is another check? We need to check that this callback function should be a this should be a function, right? So if this callback is not a function, what do we want to do here? Again, we want to throw a type error which says callback is not a function, right? All right. So we are done with the checks. Now what we want to do? Now we want to proceed with uh, the array, right? Now we will be iterating over the array, but before iterating over an array, we'll create a variable where we'll get the shallow copy of all the truthy values. So let us say I'll use result variable for this and initialize this with an empty array, right? And now let us take another variable called array where we'll pass this keyword. What does this means? So this will uh, point to an array where my filter is being applied. So suppose array.filter, right? When we write array.filter, so this keyword will point to this array, right? So this array will be getting in the variable called arr that I have defined here, right? Now let's quickly iterate over this array for let uh, I equal to 0, I less than arr dot length and I plus plus. Now, one thing what we want to check here is uh, unnecessary check is that there should not be any holes in the array. By holes, what I mean, the array should not contain any undefined values, right? So when we create an array, suppose someone creates an array called new array and give 5 as an argument. So what it will do, it will create an array of length 5 with undefined values, right? So we don't want to perform any operation, any tests or whatever is there in callback on the undefined values. So for that we'll check these holes. So if I in what I would say, so if I is present, the value is not, the index is not undefined here, then only I want to perform this operation. Now what we want to do, we want to check the condition what is there in callback. So how do we call up callback function? Using call. Now, in this, what we'll pass as an argument, first is this argument that we have here. The uh, second one is the current value of index I. The third is the index itself, and the fourth is the whole array itself. Now, if whatever is there in the condition, if it returns the truthy values, then what we want to do, we want to pass that all those truthy values in the variable called result. So result.push, what we'll do, just array of I, right? So whatever condition passes, whatever elements of an array passes this particular condition in the callback function will go into this result, right? Now what we want to do? We want to return result. Yeah. Please keep a check of these curly braces before you do anything, so that we are not, uh, we doesn't fall into an error. Okay, are we done? Yes, we are done. Now let us check if my filter works or not. So I'll take this, I'll uncomment, I'll uncomment this and show you if it works or not. I'll replace this filter with my filter. What do we have? Okay, so see, this is the benefit of error handling. We handled this error and we uh, got to know, you know, that what is the exact error. So this is not a function. So what mistake? Okay, got it. I forgot to write type of here. So when we write type of callback, then only it will give us function string, right? So this was an error. I think now it should be fixed. See, now it works as expected. Now we are getting 1, 2, 3. So this is how we write polyfill for filter. We have successfully created this. Now when we when you want to write polyfill for map, this will be this will be 90% similar. Only here in condition you will have to make some changes, because in map we perform some computation over all the elements in an array. We iterate over it, perform the computation, and return the new value uh, of that particular after performing that particular operation on that value, right? So here we are testing the value and we are returning the truthy values, but there we in map we won't test the values. Instead we'll perform an operation, return the new value. So you just need to look and change this particular condition, right? So try implementing that, and if you want me to implement that for you, do mention that in the